Hi, my name is Rose Lang. I'm 25 from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I'm applying for the fall of 2018 internship with TWLOHA on her arms. I think of community, I think of a collective purpose. I think community can simply be a matter of proximity or can be threaded together by a shared common need. I think the healthiest communities are connected by a shared hope or a vision of how day-to-day life can improve. In my experience, the healthiest communities are a place where people can be vulnerable without the fear of being condemned or judged for what they're thinking or feeling. When I initially read this question, I thought of Father Gregory Boyle, one of my favorite writers, who talks about the idea of returning one another to ourselves and of reminding one another of our innate goodness. I think I'd be a good addition to the team because I think I'm a naturally empathetic person and I do try to practice patience and understanding in my relationships. I'm also really eager to decrease the stigma surrounding mental illness, especially as someone who's struggled with depression since childhood. In terms of a major influence, I would definitely say my mom. She is strong and kind and one of the most generous people I know. I can't tell you how many times she's just given her things away because someone has said, for example, "I really like your watch," and she's just given it to them. In terms of how I influence others, I try to be as present as possible in my interactions in hopes that people feel seen and heard. In terms of what I'm passionate about libraries and spaces where art's made accessible to people who are otherwise limited by lack of resources. I also love to read. I got my English literature degree from Belmont University. I'm also passionate about working with kids. I've babysat or tutored or taught Sunday school lessons since I was old enough to do so. When I think back to a conversation that sparked change in my life, I think back to a night in my junior year of college. My friend was giving me a ride back to my dorm and she had the song "Sadness Don't Own Me" by the Staves playing on in her car, and we just started talking about our own experiences with sadness, depression, and she gave me the space to kind of reflect on the thought that I was always going to feel a sort of baseline sadness, especially considering like my own family history with depression. And she gently reminded me that while my feelings were valid, they weren't necessarily truthful, and that's something I've carried with me ever since. 5 random or quirky facts about me. I once camped outside of NBC Studios for tickets to Saturday Night Live, but ultimately had to leave because I nearly got frostbite on my hands. I love going to the movies. I find it hard to believe some people just don't. If you ever want to talk about Lady Bird or The Florida Project or Call Me By Your Name, or really any of the Oscar nominees from this year, I would love to. Another one, I named my cat after Flannery O'Connor, one of my favorite writers. I love live music. I went to my first music festival 2 years ago and I saw Sufjan Stevens, The National, Kendrick Lamar, all some of my favorites. It took me about a week to emotionally process it all. My dream right now is to ultimately become a mental health counselor. I'm tentatively planning on going back to Belmont University, my alma mater, to get that master's degree. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I look forward to hearing back from you.